Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. This is Lola again, and today we're looking at the UX research study template. So, the reason why we're doing this is because I realized that this is for one of my programs, and I realized that each time I share the templates, I'm always hoping that the participants that use the templates can understand the templates and it's straightforward. However, I realized that it wasn't straightforward, so I'm just using this opportunity to explain how the templates can be used effectively. So we're going to start by looking at the beginning of the template. So this template was used for a beauty brand. So we started by looking at like the title, the author, the stakeholders. This is the introductory part of the template. So this is just looking at introducing what this research studies about. Yes, and this particular template is actually used for primary research. So this introductory stage of the template, as you can see that this is the introduction, is focused on um, the begin and the title where we spoke about the type of brand it is, and we focused on the name of the brand and the type. Then went to the author, which is usually a product manager and could also be a product designer. Usually the lead product designer. We ask for the name, the email, and the roles. Then we go on to the stakeholders, which is usually the business owner, the project manager, the lead product designer, and the product designers. So these are just the people that have a stake in the project entirely. Then we go on to the dates, and the dates can be updated. So as you can see here, the dates was that was it was first worked on the 10th of March, then it was worked on the 11th of March. So as much as it's being updated, especially if it's a shared document, you would want to put the updated dates. Then we go to the project background. Yeah, we talk about what you're trying to achieve, and yeah, we spoke about how this is a beauty brand that is trying to this is a beauty brand that is trying to gain more reach. Then we go to the research goals. Now this is an interesting one because I realized that the research goals is usually confused with research questions and all. So when we're talking about these research goals, we're trying to ensure that we are covering every scope that the research is trying to cover, even if they sound similar. So, for example, to establish an online presence to reach a wider audience sounds very similar to generate revenue from an online target audience, but actually it's not the same. Establishing presence is not the same as generating um, revenue, so you have to differentiate everything. So that's why even when providing more information about the lifestyle and beauty brand solution sounds similar to creating a digital platform, it's not the same. We're trying to put as many differences as possible when we are discussing the research goals. Okay, now we then go to the um the research questions. As I said before, the research questions are not the same as the research goals. While the research goals is trying to focus on what we're trying to achieve, the research questions now asking is trying to answer the questions that the brand is looking out for. So yeah, the research questions first of all has been advised that we can start from five, but it's we're also advised not to should not do more than 7 and 10, and that's because you're trying to be as focused as possible and not get distracted with many other things. So so in these research questions we're asking questions that the brand is trying to answer, like what are the beauty standards for a woman. So the point of this is just to answer the questions, to ask the questions that the brand is going to benefit from in the research. So beyond beauty standards of women, how often do a beauty appointments shared? If you notice, this is one person cannot answer this question. I cannot ask this question to one person. So this again is not the questions you're asking the participant. This again is covering the questions that the participants should try and answer. One a participant cannot answer a question like what are beauty standards. Okay, so we'll now go on to key performance indicators. The key performance indicators are trying to see what would you consider to a success for the brand. So, for example, here we talked about the conversion rate, time on task, user error rate, and drop off rate. This is what we did. Usually, we are advised to do three solid KPIs, but we did four here. And other types are um, search versus navigation. So conversion rate for us here was how many how customers can go on this site and then purchase a service or a product on this site. That is very important, and that is very different from um another another type of conversion rate. So if it was a social media task, a social media site, conversion rate is how many people are going to sign up and use this. So there are other types called time on task, user error rate, and drop off rates. There are going to be other examples in the original template that will be shared with you, and you can actually Google other KPIs that are and try to choose the ones that are important or that align with the goals of the owner of the business. So after we do this, we go down to the methodology. Yeah, the methodology is talking about how do we aim to achieve our primary research. So yeah, we're talking about specifically that it is a primary research. Other t- another This template can also be used for usability research, but that will be spoken about later on in this video. So we talk in the methodology, we talk about the location. Yeah, in this particular project, some of the volunteers that we worked with in the last project actually went to meet individuals physically while I carried out my research virtually. So it can be either physical or virtual. Then we spoke about the date, how long we want it to last, and the number of participants. Usually we start with five participants, but it does depends on the type of industry. So we did five participants that are interested in beauty based experiences. We are very specific. We don't want participants that are not aligned with the organization, what the organization offers. Then, of course, spoke about the timing of the interviews to manage the expectations of the participants and the compensation. Usually, we are advised to give compensation, but we did not have a compensation to give this time, so there was no compensation yet. So now we go on to the type of participants that we want in the in for this primary research. So we're very specific about what we wanted. We wanted people based in Nigeria because this is a Nigerian based brand, and we wanted people that have access to the internet. So, and these people that have access to the internet usually purchase products and services, especially beauty and fashion products and services. And we were specific about telling saying that because of these are the individuals of the lifeblood of the type of brand that we're working with. So we now went to the participant questions. This is one that, as I said, this is the script that we're asking, the script that we're asking the participants, and people usually mix up the participants questions as they mix it up with the research questions. That's why I scrolled up to make you see that. But it's not the same. But if you look at it, the first question: what do you consider an important and necessary beauty standard for a woman? It is similar to the very first question of our research questions, which was what is the beauty standard of a woman. The second was how often do you go for beauty sessions as a lady, and we give the example. These are the examples of the services that this brand we're working with offers. And of course, if when I go back to the research questions, you see how similar it is to the research questions. Don't so The point is that the research questions helped us to guide how we're coining these questions, but this particular study participant questions you're asking a person, we're asking the person what, who, how, and exactly. And when you're asking your participants questions, okay, so going back to the research questions, if you notice, we used what our research questions offered to point out these questions. And if you notice, when we're asking these questions, we ask questions like what, how, who, and the reason why we ask these questions is because we want the participants to answer in details. Because when we ask questions like, if you ask questions like, do you go to the salon? You're asking a yes and no question. And when you are asking a yes and no question, you're limiting the participants on what they can answer. However, when you ask questions like what, how, why, who, you will notice that they are opening up to the questions, and thus they're giving more context. So this is about the primary research template. Now we're going to go on to the usability testing templates. Now the usability testing template actually follows the research the research questions. The research questions again is a guide to the usability study template. Sorry about that. Let me just go back. Is a guide to the usability is a guide to the usability study template, as I said before. So um, first of all, we're going to edit the methodology to be able to explain what we're trying to achieve. So here we spoke about how this methodology is an individual usability research, and that's because it can also be done in form of a group, but that's not what we did here. Then we spoke about the location, which one was carried out virtually, and again we covered the date and the type of the number of participants and the session to again manage the expectation of what we're trying to achieve. And of course, if you notice, the participants again has to be somebody in line with the goals of the brand. So now let's go to the scripts. If you notice here, we're talking about recording. That's what we carried out this time. We're talking about a recording where the participants has to acknowledge that they are willing to be recorded and to use their records to for research purposes. And here we use prompts. So what do you think about this website? We now try to tell the participants to try a product, a wig, like we're trying to sell now, because it's what the brand is offering. And if you look at the second prompt, I just scrolled past quite quickly. We spoke about how we wanted them to book an appointment. If you notice, these prompts are exactly in line with our research question. So that is what we are trying to achieve in this template. So thank you very much for joining us or joining me today. I hope this template can really help you out, and I look forward to the next template. See you next time. Bye.